another episodes of Hikes and Walks. Today we're at Shiloh National Military Park in Shiloh, Tennessee. And we're here to do the Shiloh Monument Trail, a 3.2 mile loop as depicted in the Hiking Tennessee book by Falcon Guides. This is not the entire park. This is not going to be a monument walk park. I will go by most of them. I'll go by some monuments and I will go up there and look at them and stuff and kind of explain what they're for. But it's not going to be an in-depth review of all the monuments. It's going to be more just highlighting the walking path of the Shiloh Monument Trail as according to the Hiking Tennessee book of Falcon Guides. But we're starting off here at the George Manse parking lot. This is the trailhead for this walk. And as you can see, it says Fighting Consumes Bell's Farm. And this right here is a peach orchard where that fighting took place. The Battle of Shiloh took place April 6th and 7th of 1862. General Grant's troops were stationed here at Pittsburgh Landing and were attacked by Confederates. They repelled the attack due to some last-minute reinforcements, and the Confederates had to retreat. So this battle right here really did help change the Western theater for the Civil War and helped secure a Union victory for this area. We're starting off at the George Manse Cabin. Come up through here. The trail guide, the book, had just doing a road walk. But I'm gonna walk up here to the cabin. Now this cabin right here, the George Manse Cabin, was named after the family that lived in this area before the Civil War. So this was an existing cabin before the Civil War, along with its peach orchards. Now, as you can see now, the peach orchard, just a few trees left out there. There's a couple out there in the distance, kind of young ones, but one over there, kind of a taller one. But they try to replant them, so you can see there, a lot of them were dead, and then they cut them down and they replanted. So they're going, one day there'll be a whole another peach orchard here, like it was back in the battle back in 1862. But so this area at the battle, the battle really raged in the peach orchard and around this area cabin. There's battles all over this battlefield. It's a pretty big battlefield, but we'll go by some of the more popular ones today. One of those is the Hornet's nest. It's very well known, but according to some battlefield experts, it's just like that's where when some of the veterans were interviewed by papers up north, they just talked about the Hornet's nest. So it wasn't the only spot that was heavy fighting here. It was all over this park, but it just probably one of the more well known just for the best, plus it's had the best, had the best advertising, not advertising, but the best recognition after the war, from like interviews by newspapers up north, from Union soldiers and stuff. But right here, we're in front of the Manse Cabin. We have two dead cedar trees. It's really, really neat. Well, not quite dead. There's some green up there. Those probably were here since the 1860s. I think all these trees probably were here from the 1860s. But here's the Manse Cabin. As you can see, it's shut up right now. I can't remember if you could walk in there or not. I don't think so. You ever could. We'll kind of back away here and get a better shot. Just really neat. There's no plaque to see when this cabin was built, but it's the same cabin that was here in the 1860s. So, like a little one-room cabin. Yeah, it's got a lock on the door, but wood and earth and mud in between the wood. So very, very rudimentary. Reminiscent back in the day. Okay, we're gonna pick back up here. We'll pick back up on the actual trailhead up here. So we've already covered this, but here's a sign for the peach orchard right here. And there's a monument out there, but there's a sign for the peach orchard, the battle that ensued by the Manse Cabin. Now, there is a feature, it's called the Bloody Pond. It's probably about, once you're on the road, probably about 15, 20 yards up to the left. That is on the Trailhead guidebook, but we'll cover that when we come back by, probably, if I don't change my mind. But we're gonna pick back up here on the road here in just 1 second, and we'll get back on start on the actual trail according to the guidebook. All right, we're here at the Bloody Pond, and it says return to Bell's Farm. It says the second day of fighting saw the Federals retaking ground lost the day before. Here, General Don Carlos Buell's fresh divisions attacked the Confederate riot and fighting. Once again, consumed Sarah Bell's farm. So, the Manse Cabin, the peach orchard, everything was under a farm called from Sarah Bell. So the first day they lost that territory, the Union Army, and then on the 7th they were retaken. Okay, here as you can see, Bloody Pond. This is my official start of the trail. Okay, here's the infamous Bloody Pond, and the reason this is called Bloody Pond is on the 2 days of battling, a lot of the Union and Confederate soldiers would come here to get water, but they also would wash their wounds and stuff off into the pond with the water. So after the 2 days of fighting, after the soldiers that were injured and stuff would wash the blood off of them, wash their wounds out, this whole area, this whole little pond was just completely blood red. So it's still got a little tint, a little iron colored tint at the bottom, but just pure blood red. And I do remember like an anniversary of the battlefield that they did put like a little non-harmful dye that turned this pond red. Okay, we're gonna pick back up. We're gonna officially start the hike, the 3.2 mile loop. The official trailhead is this little turnoff right here to the Manse Cabin. That is the official trailhead of this hike, or walk, I should say. Won't be much hiking today. It's gonna be a more relaxed road walk the entire way, and very well paved. This is one walk that is truly accessible to anyone. Even my mom, before she passed in the summer of 2021, she was in a wheelchair, but even I could have brought her out here and wheeled her around and stuff, and she could have saw a lot of this because it's very well paved. As we stated earlier, to the right is the peach orchard of Sarah Bell's farm, where the Manse Cabin was located, the George Manse Cabin. And there was, all around here, a fierce battle through the peach orchard. Just shots ringing out, soldiers using the trees as cover. Back then, they were full-grown, mature peach trees that would produce fruit. But today, They have replanted the trees, but they're still in their, very much in their infant stages of development. To the right, to the left over here, there's a monument with some cannons over there. As I stated earlier, this is not going to be a view of every single monument, reading every monument. I really want to hit the highlights. This is just, this video right here is just to highlight this particular walking trail in the Hiking Tennessee book. But I will come back out here. I don't live very far from here, probably about 20 minutes. So I can come out here on more than this occasion and capture more of the park. I've been out here once before. This is my second time filming out here. The first time I did film the Indian Mounds and Riverside Trail. Supposedly a 1.1 mile loop, but I actually went on part of a trailhead that had been closed due to storms and turned into a longer trailhead. So if you watch those videos, the second part of the Indian Mounds Riverside Trail, here at Shiloh, the second part, where I go into like brush that's not mowed and trees down, and I was kind of, you know, in that video kind of wondering why it wasn't as maintained. Well, it's been officially closed. That part has. So that was my fault. I should have read that was before I had the Hiking Tennessee book. But when I did get that book for Christmas, it was legitimately told me that part was closed. Okay, up here, the sign is the Sarah Bell Cotton Field. Up here where they got the hay now, we've been cotton. Okay. Johnston. We'll go out here and just kind of look at some of the bigger monuments here. This is to General Johnston. We'll walk up here. Tour stop 17. On my drive in, I've seen several deer, and as always I see a ton of squirrels, but here is, and I'm not gonna cover all these monuments, just like some of the bigger ones I see on this walk. I will come out and view that. But okay, I'll just go over and look at the plaque. Now, the Johnston was the general. He was the general of the Confederate Army. I believe he was killed in this battle. And it says that Shiloh in early 1862, General Albert Sidney Johnston sought to attack General Ulysses S. Grant's Army of the Tennessee before General Don Carlos Buell's Army of the Ohio arrived from Nashville. The battle began early on Sunday morning, April 6, 1862, and by mid-morning the tide of the battle favored the Confederates, as two frontline Union divisions, despite a stubborn defense, were driven north from their camps. Johnston personally encouraged his troops, proclaiming, "Today we must conquer or perish." Then at mid-afternoon, while personally directing an attack, Johnston was fatally wounded, as second-in-command General Pierre G.T. Beauregard assumed command of the Confederate forces. The Confederates ended the day sure of their victory. The next day, however, with Buell's army having arrived on the battlefield overnight, the tide of the battle rapidly reversed, turning against the Confederates and forcing them from the field. So, this spot I believe is where Johnston was killed. So April the 6th, the battle that raged here was the Confederate forces were in position, looked like they were going to win. And from the stats I read, and during this battle, 110,000 men took part in this battle. There were 23,000 killed, and I believe 14,000 of those were from Confederate losses. So their losses were unsustainable, so they had to retreat the next day. But the first day it looked like they were going to defeat General Grant, but with General Buell's reinforcements from Nashville, the Union were able to defeat and cause the Confederate retreat back towards Corinth. Before April the 6th, General Grant and his forces were at Pittsburgh Landing here, and the Confederate forces were in Corinth, Mississippi, and they came from Corinth, Mississippi to attack them here. And with this walk, we should take the little curve right here. If you're looking for more of a thorough explanation of the battle and the battlefield, the locations, there is some really great YouTube channels out there that cover all battlefields and battles of the Civil War in depth. You know, I think one of them's named American Battlefield Trust, or American Civil War Battlefield Trust, where they actually go in and raise money and actually buy more land that surround the battlefields, especially here at Shiloh. You've got a large portion of the battlefield under government property, but there are some sections of the battlefield that are still privately owned, and the Battlefield Trust, through donations, and when they're able to raise funds, they go out there and they do try to buy more of the battlefields, try to get more complete battlefields, because parks like this one, it's not the entire battlefield, and you can't really, without getting on private property, track every single movement of the armies and everything. But they are organizations working on, purchasing more land and preserving the historical battlefields and stuff of the Civil War and other wars as well. Very pretty through here. So, excuse me for my knowledge. I'm not an authority on the Civil War battlefields or anything like that. Really, I'm gonna just highlight this walking trail, and if you're ever in the area, come out here. It is free to get in. There's no entrance fee. They do have a gift shop and tour that you can pay for and take a full tour. Very popular designation. Come out here. Just kind of looking at the side right here. It's beautiful through here. This area became a park, a national park, military park in 1892, I believe. In the 1890s, early 1890s. So a lot of the trees and everything a lot of them are still, that you see today, were from that time period of the battle, because they were able to, like only 30 years after the battle, come out here and preserve this land. I really just really enjoy the design of the fences, the log fences. I think they are very representative of that time period. I think you can see the cannons on the left. An Army of the Mississippi Brigade right there. Statums. I'm not sure. This brigade became engaged here about 12:30 p.m. April 6, 1862. It advanced across the field to the northeast corner about 2:30. The 19th Tennessee was detached to Lick Creek in the morning, and it returned about 2 o'clock and joined Stevens' brigade in charge across the field. So there, across the way is the George Manse Cabin, and that's the peach orchard in the cotton field. So they would advance on the 6th there to engage the Union troops up towards the Bloody Pond area. I really love the fence work on the right. See that? And after today, I will be back. After today's video, it'll be a 3.2 mile loop today, and after I get all of today's videos posted over the course of about close to a month, I may look at coming back later in the summer or in the fall and there's another trail. It's called the Shiloh National Military Trail on All Trails app, and it's a 10.1 mile loop. You can drive your car. All these places you can drive your car through. But the 10.1 mile loop on the All Trails app, that is for all the major monuments of the park. It goes on the outer side of the park, goes by the National Cemetery for the Union troops that were buried there, and a lot of the highlights like Shiloh Church. We won't be hitting Shiloh Church today. It's not on this hike. So here's a pretty spot right there. Well, I thought it was a deer, but it's just a squirrel. And off to the left right there, marking the Army of the Ohio, Hazen's Brigade. And on the right, again, the Army of the Mississippi, 1st Tennessee, 9th Tennessee Infantry. Hear the cicadas. Not as prevalent as last year at the Rock Spring Trail off the Natchez Trace. There's a lot of bird sounds out here, so I'll be more quiet. Let you just get the sounds of nature. Hear a woodpecker in the distance. Had to fix my audio level. It was down a little bit. I'm not sure how that happened. I guess when I put it up, but I put it back on 10. So hopefully the sounds will pick up a little bit better for you. I had it like on 8. So I mentioned earlier that about 23,000 troops were killed, 14,000 of those Confederate forces, and about 9,000 Union forces. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the North American continent of time of European settlement. So it was the bloodiest battle up until then. There was a Wheatfield called Davis Wheatfield over there, which is now this really well maintained. Like if it was woods back in the day, it's woods now. If it was open, if it was being cultivated, it's the same way now. Yeah, as you saw earlier, they were mowing the fields and cutting hay, but that definitely would have been, cultivated back in the 1862 during the battle as well. Up here, we will make a right up here at the stop sign and can continue on this Shiloh Monument Trail. This right here will be a great stopping point for episode 1. So as normal, since this is a 3.2 mile walk and I like to cover every step of the walk, I'll break it up into episodes. So with this, we're going to stop for episode 1.